You can't do what Joe Rogan does. Like Joe Rogan is Joe Rogan because Joe Rogan already had a platform, was already a comedian, right? 1 month we grew by 35,000 subscribers through YouTube Shorts. That is a top of funnel. Instagram is a top of funnel. YouTube Live is a top of funnel. I go to the gym every day and I see people coming in year after year looking the same they did 2 years ago. And they don't have a plan. They're just showing up to the gym. And you can do that on YouTube. So let me flesh this out with you real quick. So here's what I mean.
Ruslan.
What would you say would be one of the first ways someone should invest in themselves to start their own podcast if they wanted to? Like, what's something they should, maybe something simple to get them started?
I think, this is my opinion, I think the pathway to podcasting is probably going to start closer aligned with live streaming.
Okay.
And the stuff we teach on Master YouTube Live, on that YouTube channel, we have a whole YouTube channel. Live streaming first, because you can build a live stream setup. You can build an audience live streaming, and then start reaching out to just friends and family that you find interesting about interesting topics that you want to talk about. So like our model now is we're not getting a ton of high profile guests to come be with us in person. And we also don't necessarily want to take a bunch of equipment and travel and, you know what I mean? Like that's also not it either. Just the ROI to like fly to, I don't know, wherever, New York, right? So we're trying to like build enough of a platform where people are like, yeah, I'll fly to San Diego to be on your podcast, right? But that's because we want to have an audience that adds value and there's something here, right? So it's all going to come down to like your utility and your analytics if you're talking about building a podcast. People build a podcast and aren't deliberate, aren't interesting, don't have anything interesting to talk about, don't have any relationships, right? And so then it just becomes about you and your homies rambling about whatever you feel like rambling about. And then it's just a complete L because there's 1,000 podcasts, hundreds of thousands of podcasts right now. Why would they listen to you? So my opinion is leverage live to figure out how to build an audience and around things other people care about, not you, what you care about, but other people care about. Is there a need for the type of content you want to make? And then once that is that has some legs to it, people will then want to come on and talk to you because you actually have something to offer them, right? Because you can't just assume like people want to come on or guests want to come on just because like you're a nice guy or just because you're a Christian. It has to be something in it for them as well, right? And so like the more you build out your audience, the more you build out a YouTube presence, the more you build these things out, the faster. And so again, in my opinion, that's going to be directly correlated through live streaming on YouTube, scaling over to TikTok and YouTube Shorts, which YouTube Shorts is about to be even bigger come January because they started monetizing it. There's going to be ads on it now. And so that would be my advice to everybody. And I think too many people start and don't really have a plan and they're not really being deliberate. And so then it just becomes about them rambling. You know, and even like an introduction, like even in a conversation with someone, like the beginning of a podcast, like you can't do what Joe Rogan does. Like Joe Rogan is Joe Rogan because Joe Rogan already had a platform, was already a comedian, and therefore he can start a podcast and meander and ramble and talk about nothing for the first 10 minutes. If you don't have an audience, why would anybody want to hear you ramble about how your day went?
True.
You know what I mean? So if you're going to have a guest on, you need to jump right into the conversation and get to the point of whatever the value add that you're promising people. And or at the very least, don't live stream that, pre-record that, and then chop it up with intros, like little preview of what's about to come. And in good content, good conversation, things people are interested about, conflict, tension. Those are the macro ideas of any type of content that's going to be disruptive. So it's like you have one or two options. Get poppin' or be connected to someone poppin' and have them help pull you up, or go and put in the hard work of building a YouTube presence, leveraging live streaming and short form content. And then eventually people will want to come on and have conversations with you, and then reach out to people that are like in the same stratosphere as you, because then it becomes mutually beneficial. So if you have 1,000 subscribers, someone else has 1,000 subscribers, it becomes mutually beneficial instead of like someone has, 50,000 subscribers and you're like, do an interview with me. You got to have something really interesting to want someone to come on. You got to have and so that's how I would look at it. And so I think people still forget that people's time is finite. You have to have value. You have to present something to get somebody on. And if you don't have some form of value, then it's unlikely you're going to grow a podcast that way. Is that helpful? Does that bring some clarity?
Yeah, that's definitely helpful because I guess. So I have one friend, I think this is probably where his fault is he kind of started his own podcast, but he does it just on like he has an iTunes podcast, doesn't do like video version or anything. But I think his thing is that he does kind of end up rambling sometimes. Like he's
Mm-hmm.
trying to read scripture, and I think he has a good basis for what he's trying to do. And I think he just kind of let it go to the side because he hasn't really like built that rapport with people on what he's really trying to get out there and what he's trying to do. And I think he's a great person to speak on it. And then I have my own ideas in my mind. And I think that's where I get hung up at is like, all right, is the idea that I have for what I want to talk about good enough for people to want to stick around and tune in? And would there be people who would I want to bring? Like I have like people that I work with and friends that I go to church with and stuff that I would bring on. But would they be interesting enough for people to be, all right, that's somebody I want to.
You're thinking correctly. I want you to be thinking about discovery. How is someone ever going to click into your podcast? Right? Like we're on the podcast app, but majority of our discovery comes from YouTube, Facebook, Shorts, that sort of thing, right? So think like it's like a funnel, right? So the top of the funnel and then it goes down, right? So just think of a funnel. So this is the top of the funnel. So the top of the funnel is the discovery. And then as you go lower and lower, there's some sort of conversion that happens, right? So where is the discovery happening? Where are they going to next? And then what is the conversion you're hoping to happen? Because that's how you monetize. Too many people just focus on the discovery aspect and all they do is TikTok, but they never have anywhere to plug people into. Other people focus too much on the product, but they never have the eyeballs of the discovery. So you got to have a solid funnel all the way through. So let me flesh this out with you real quick. So here's what I mean. Hey, if you want to successfully start your YouTube channel, I'm running a free 2-day challenge for you. During these 2 days, I'll be pulling back the curtain on some of the particulars of what it took to grow my main channel to over 240,000 subscribers and laying out a blueprint of how you can do something similar. And to prove that this isn't some dated strategy that I only used on my main channel, I'll also explain how I did it for my second channel in the last few months, growing it to over 50,000 subscribers and having it generate about $5,000 a month on average. Some of you guys know me, know I'm into fitness, and I've seen the same people show up to the gym for 2-3 years and get no results. And you could do the same thing with YouTube. You keep spinning your wheels, you can keep trying different things, or you can find a tried and true system that works and has repeatedly been shown to produce results. I know there's a whole lot going on around the holidays, you're busy, but if you want to approach your YouTube channel with a strategy and a system that's proven, sign up for this free 2-day challenge below. You could sign up by clicking the link in the description or the pinned comment below. We get discovery on stuff like TikTok, YouTube Shorts, right? 1 month we grew by 35,000 subscribers through YouTube Shorts. That is a top of funnel. Instagram is a top of funnel. YouTube Live is a top of funnel, meaning YouTube will push your stuff up the algorithm. If your channel is monetized, it's interesting, people are caring about it, it's trending, people are searching for it, that will get pushed out. That is optimal for discovery. Then I can take people from the top of the funnel, just my Ruslan channel, 10, 12-minute video, right? And then they can click into another video on the Blessed God Studio channel, which is a little longer, or they can go and listen to the podcast, which are a little longer on the podcast app. And then the bottom of the funnel for me is going to be something like our Patreon community of $5 a month, or we're working on even a better conversion for us is we're developing a couple courses, paid courses. So we're doing like an apologetics course, right? So something that's like a paid course with like actual educational value. So that's what I mean by the funnel. So like, is there a product at the bottom? Because if you have no way of monetizing, whether it's a community Patreon for the extended versions of the podcast, the unedited versions of the podcast, or a book or a course, something. If there's no conversion happening, it's going to be very difficult for people to sustain themselves just off of YouTube AdSense, right? And then the top of the funnel is how do people ever discover your podcast? Like you could put your podcast on Spotify all you want, but if you're not leveraging stuff, and then like live is respect people's attention. Not enough people respect people's attention on these platforms. So if I'm clicking into a Mike Winger video, he needs to respect my attention and get to the point rather quickly to keep me there, right? And then like the bigger your audience gets, the more kind of flexibility you have. But so like Christians think that because we're preaching the gospel that we don't have to respect people's attention and we don't have to respect people's time. No, You make a value add, you make a promise, you need to get right to it. So if you look at my YouTube videos, for example, like whatever the title is and whatever the punchline is, whatever the content is, I'm to it within 30 to 40 seconds, preferably within the first 5 seconds, because I respect people's attention too much. And if you don't, then they'll just click out of your video. And so the issue becomes is people make content, they're not deliberate, they're not paying attention, they're rambling, they're just kind of winging it, and there's no real plan, there's no system, there's no process to it, right? There's a way to monetize stuff out here, man. There's a way to make money and share the gospel and have it make sense. I don't know if most people are looking to genuinely do that as much as they're like just kind of winging it. And like, I mean, you could wing it. Like people, you can go to the gym every day and never see results. Like and a lot of people do. I go to the gym every day and I see people coming in year after year looking the same they did 2 years ago because they never want to button up their eating. They never want to learn to compound lifts. They don't have a plan. They're just showing up to the gym. And you can do that on YouTube. You can do that with podcasting. You could show up for 3 years straight and never break 1,000 subscribers. Or you can show up for a month and grow to 50,000 subscribers. It's all in the value add. It's all in the proposition. It's all in how unique your story is, how consistent you are, how much can you outsource? Can you pay people up front to do this stuff? Can you go hire an agency and pay them $8,000 a month to do all this stuff? If you don't have $8,000 a month, great. Can you learn all the skills little by little to develop it, right? So that's what I mean. When you don't have money, you have time. And when you can learn all of it, you could immerse yourself in it. If you don't have time, hopefully you have money. If you don't have money or time, you're in trouble. You're in serious trouble, And so that's how I would look at it, man. I know I just gave you a whole lot to chew on, but I really think it's like the best of times and the worst of times in terms of content right now. Hey, this clip is from our daily after party stream. If you enjoyed it, consider signing up for our Patreon community for only $5 a month, where you get access to the replays of our daily after party streams, as well as the uncut extended versions of our podcast, Discord access that's private, and a discount code for our merch store, only $5 a month. And ultimately, it's the best way to help us contextualize the gospel of Jesus using media, podcasting, and of course, YouTube. The link for that is in the description or in the pinned comment. Now, if you're like, meh, I don't want to sign up for $5 a month. I don't need another recurring subscription. Listen, I get it. You could also make a donation using PayPal, Cash App, or Venmo. But we really want to get you on Patreon. I promise you, the perks are amazing. You should get on there. It's only $5 a month. I'll see you over there, all right? Peace.